People rarely lose respect for you in the way you think they do. Most people assume it happens because of a major mistake. We tend to believe that failure, a poor decision, or appearing weak during a certain period of life is what lowers our value in the eyes of others. But in reality, respect disappears much more quietly. You do not wake up one day and suddenly realize that everyone has changed toward you. Instead, small signs begin to appear. People no longer listen as carefully when you speak. Your opinions are sought less often. Your presence no longer carries the same weight it once did. And most of the time, you cannot even identify the exact moment it began. That is because respect does not vanish overnight. It erodes slowly. Perhaps the most interesting part of this process is that people often do not even realize they have lost respect for you. Respect is not usually a conscious decision. It is an unconscious perception. People do not sit down and carefully analyze your character. They do not create a list of your strengths and weaknesses. Instead, deep within their minds, they collect hundreds of small signals from your behavior and gradually arrive at a conclusion. Are you strong? Are you decisive? Do you value yourself? Are you in control of your own life? The answers to these questions are rarely found in your words. They are found in your actions. Before we continue, a quick note for those who are new to the channel. Welcome to Inner Dominion Mind. This channel was created to explore the depths of the human mind, the hidden aspects of psychology, the timeless ideas of philosophy, and the darker truths that shape human nature. Here, we will not only try to understand others, we will also learn to understand ourselves, manage our thoughts, gain mastery over our emotions, and develop our inner strength. Because true power does not come from controlling other people. It begins with mastering your own mind. Now let's return to today's topic. One of the darker aspects of human nature is this. People often reflect back to you the value you assign to yourself. If you constantly violate your own boundaries, say yes when you want to say no, and prioritize the comfort of others over your own peace of mind, the people around you eventually begin doing the same thing. This does not happen because they are bad people. The human mind is constantly observing social hierarchies and value systems. When you place yourself second, others begin to believe that placing you second is normal. Perhaps this is one of the hardest truths for people to accept. From childhood, we are taught that good people will be loved. We are told that being more understanding will make us more appreciated. We believe that the more sacrifices we make, the more respect we will receive. Yet real life often works differently. At first, people appreciate sacrifice. But when sacrifice becomes constant, they stop noticing it. The person who is always available becomes invisible. The person who is always giving becomes ordinary. The person who is endlessly understanding eventually becomes someone who is simply expected to be that way. You can observe this in every area of life. In the workplace, the employee who constantly takes on extra responsibilities eventually stops being viewed as hardworking and starts being viewed as the person who can handle everything. In a group of friends, the person who is always understanding is treated as though they have no emotional needs of their own. Within families, the person who constantly sacrifices is no longer appreciated, but instead seen as someone merely fulfilling their duty. This happens not because people are evil, but because the human mind is designed to adapt. What is constantly available becomes invisible. What is always accessible becomes ordinary. And unfortunately, the person who constantly compromises begins to lose value in the eyes of others. Carl Jung believed that human beings are not guided solely by their conscious minds. According to him, much of our behavior is driven by our shadows, our fears, and our unconscious patterns. This is why people are often influenced more by what they feel than by what they hear. You may not be able to explain why one person commands respect while another does not. You may be more intelligent, more knowledgeable, or even more successful than that person. Yet somehow people choose to listen to them. The reason is often not intelligence or achievement. The reason is the relationship that person has with themselves. People who respect themselves do not need to announce it. They communicate it through their behavior. And when the human mind detects these signals, it naturally begins to treat them differently. Now ask yourself an honest question. How many times have you agreed to something you did not want? How many times have you sacrificed your own peace simply to avoid disappointing someone else? How many times should you have said no, but said yes instead? How many times have you postponed your own needs in order to satisfy the expectations of others? Most people interpret these actions as kindness, but human nature often struggles to distinguish between kindness and a lack of self-worth. One of history's most controversial thinkers, Machiavelli, made an uncomfortable observation about human nature. He argued that people often confuse kindness with weakness. This is not always true, but it happens frequently in social relationships. If a person constantly backs down, constantly compromises, and consistently fails to protect their own interests, others may interpret that behavior not as kindness, but as weakness. This may sound harsh, but human nature is not always fair. People react to perceptions, not necessarily to reality. And perceptions are shaped through behavior. What is even more fascinating is this. People learn how to treat you largely by watching how you treat yourself. If you do not value your own time, others will not value it either. If you constantly feel the need to explain yourself, people will believe questioning you is normal. If you fail to protect your boundaries, others will naturally assume those boundaries do not matter. This process is rarely conscious. Most people are completely unaware they are doing it, yet the result remains the same. People begin treating you in the same way you treat yourself. Perhaps the biggest reason people lose respect for someone is not failure. The real reason is when that person begins to abandon themselves. People can respect someone who struggles with failure. They can respect someone who makes mistakes. In fact, they often respect people even more when they fall and find the strength to rise again. But something changes when people see someone abandoning their own value. When a person gives up their principles, constantly seeks approval, and begins living according to the expectations of others, they send a powerful message to everyone around them. That message says, "I am not fully convinced of my own worth." The human subconscious detects that message far more quickly than most people realize. The mind trusts behavior more than words. There is a significant difference between someone saying they lack confidence and someone demonstrating it through their actions. People may forget what you said, but they rarely forget how you made them feel. This is one of the important truths that Friedrich Nietzsche pointed toward. First, a person convinces themselves, and then they convince the world. If you doubt your own value, the world begins to doubt it as well. If you constantly seek validation, people begin questioning your worth. True value rarely needs to shout. It does not constantly seek approval. It does not desperately try to prove itself. It is quiet. It is confident. It exists independently of the opinions of others. This is why regaining respect is not about changing other people. It is not about talking more, explaining yourself more, or trying to convince everyone around you. Real change begins when you stop trying to justify yourself. Respect cannot be demanded. It cannot be negotiated. Respect is the natural result of a person protecting their own value. People who keep their promises to themselves, protect their boundaries, and are willing to stand alone when necessary, eventually receive a different response from the world around them. Some people drift away because they can no longer use them. Others become uncomfortable because they can no longer get what they want. Yet some people begin to respect them for the first time. because now they are dealing with someone who genuinely respects themselves. And perhaps this is the most important lesson to take away from this video. People do not lose respect for you overnight. The process is built through hundreds of small behaviors, hundreds of small compromises, and hundreds of small decisions. Likewise, rebuilding respect does not happen through one dramatic action. It begins by keeping the small promises you make to yourself, protecting your boundaries, and refusing to place your value in the hands of other people's approval. The world often treats you the way you treat yourself. Those who protect their value eventually receive the same treatment from others. Those who constantly compromise often pay the price by losing respect. So before trying to change how other people see you, ask yourself a more important question. How do you see yourself? If you enjoyed this video and would like to continue exploring the depths of psychology, the powerful ideas of philosophy, and the secrets of mental mastery, make sure to subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts in the comments below. In your opinion, what is the biggest reason people lose respect for someone? Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and continue uncovering the hidden layers of the human mind. Remember, before you seek power over the world around you, learn to gain power over the mind within you. Because true dominion begins within.